welcome to Noble Character Crafts. My name is Amy and I'm coming to you from eastern Nebraska where I live with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Friday, May 5th, 2023. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you really enjoy this episode. This is a channel all about my crafty life and today I have knitting and crocheting to share with you all. You can find me online on Instagram at Noble Character Crafts, and you can get in contact with me through my email at noblecharactercrafts@yahoo.com. I will have links to the places that you can find me in the description box below, as well as the show notes for this episode. I am hosting a year-long make-along on Instagram called the Make 9 2023 Mal. That's for you to join in the Make 9 challenge, where you choose 9 projects that you would like to make this year. Make a grid of those 9 projects, and then anytime that you post a picture of your progress or a finished object from your board, then you can include the hashtag Make 9 2023 Mal, and that will enter you in the drawing to win a prize, which I draw periodically throughout the year. Any whips are allowed for this make-along, any crafts are allowed, and you do not have to finish anything. It's just a participatory make-along. But if you want any more details about this make-along, please see the description box below for that as well. I have 2 winners that I want to announce today to give away winners for the make-along. These are the last 2 skeins that I have from an anonymous donation from a viewer of this podcast. And this gorgeous purple skein, well, she said, the lady that donated these prizes said that I could keep a skein for myself. And so I've kept back my 3 favorites and I'm giving away, it was a very difficult choice, but I'm giving away the 2 that I decided not to keep. I didn't grab the one I did decide to keep. I put it already in my stash, which is back here in this closet. Anyway, I will show that at another time. But anyway, so these 2 are some of my very favorites from what was donated from that box of yarn. Anyway, this one is by A Girl and Her Wool. And I just love purple, so this was such a gorgeous color and hard for me to choose which one to keep. But this one's called Plum and Plumber. It's fingering weight, 2-ply, 80% superwash BFL, so that's Blueface Leicester, and 20% nylon. And the colors in this are just so beautiful. I love this one so much. And I hope that the winner of this enjoys it as well. And that is Jessica, who is at Late to the Game Needle Art on Instagram. So congratulations to you, Jessica. And then the second beautiful skein is from Yarnable by Hypnotic Yarn. And I love the colors in this one as well. It just has these fun greens and peachy colors in it. And it's called Pumpkin Patch. It's on the plush sock fingering weight, 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, also fingering weight. So this is another gorgeous skein that will be going off to the second winner, who is Heather at Almost Hippie Knitter on Instagram. Congratulations to you also, Heather. If the 2 winners can please just get in contact with me either through my email or through direct message on Instagram and let me know your full name and mailing address. I'll be happy to get those prizes off in the mail to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for participating in the Make 9 2023 Mal, and please don't hesitate to continue to join in throughout the year. You can join in at any time. So I would encourage you to do so if you are interested in that. Today I am wearing a shawl that I knit, I think last year, but I'm just going off my terrible memories. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, this is the Kimba shawl by Ambah O'Brien. And it is definitely one of my favorite and most worn shawls. I really love the colors in this. I think I mentioned that last time I wore it on an episode, but it's really one of my favorites. I just think it goes with so much in my wardrobe and it's such an easily wearable shawl. So I highly recommend this pattern. It uses 4 skeins of fingering weight yarn. I'm pretty sure that's what the pattern calls for. That's what I used. So I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I followed the pattern for that. So I have 2 finished objects to share with you all today. The first is I'm really happy with one finished object, and the other finished object has a bit of a story behind it, but I'll go with the easy one first. It is my April socks. Every month this year, January through November, I have scheduled out for me to knit through a set of my Knit Picks Felici yarn. And this is the colorway that I chose for the month of April. And I'm also working through my collection of patterns by Kay Litton of Crazy Sock Lady Designs. And so this pattern that I used is called Cable Ridge Socks. And the colorway that I used by Knit Picks Felici is called Base Jump. I knit the medium size on US 0.2mm needles. The medium size has a 64 stitch count for the sock. And the cuff is a 1x1 twisted ribbing. My standard now, I've knit enough Knit Picks Felici socks now that I've gotten my standard down that I always use. I always knit through 3 color stripes for my cuffs, and then for the legs I do 10 stripes, and also for the foot I end up doing 10 stripes before the toe decreases. So that works out really well. I followed the pattern exactly, and I absolutely love how it turned out. I love this pattern so much. It is so fun and squishy. The texture of it is just so great. It has, let me turn it so you can see how it looks straight down the front, has these beautiful cables and purl ridges, hence the name Cable Ridge. And then even along the back side, it has another cable that runs down the center of the back. And I just love how that texture and the cabling all works together for this pattern. It makes such a fun textured sock. For the heels, I used a contrast color, which is dyed by Sweet Mountain Crafts, and this is called Summer Snowcone. I added in the slip stitch detail that I add into all of my own socks on the ball of my foot. So the last 30 rounds of my sock before the toe decreases, I do a slip stitch detail very similar to a heel flap, a slip stitch heel flap. So 1 round on the bottom stitches only, I do knit 1, slip 1 across, then follow that by a plain knit row, and repeat those 2 rounds for 30 rounds total, so that I get a bit of reinforcement on the ball of my foot, which is where I tend to wear holes in my socks most quickly. So that has really proven to be very effective in keeping my socks from getting holes in them as quickly. So that's what I have done. So if you happen to wear your socks in that same spot, I would highly recommend that you give that a try, or even if you wear it in a different spot. I think some people might wear their socks on the bottom of their heels more quickly. So you could even try adding in some slip stitches on the, bottom of the heel here. Play around with that and see if it would be helpful to you. Anyway, I love how these socks turned out, and yeah, I'm really, really happy with them. I definitely would like to try this pattern again with some maybe tonal or semi, like speckled yarn maybe. I think it would be really fun with that as well. But I'm happy with these. I really like how they turned out. I think they're great. All right, on to my next finished object, which, like I said, has a bit of a story to it. So I finished my Felix cardigan. And let's just start at the beginning. So I started this back in February. I started off knitting the second size, which would have been the appropriate size for me for my measurements. But as I started knitting through, I think I'd already split for the sleeves. Yes, I'm sure I had, and decided that it was turning out a little bit too big for me in the yoke area than what I preferred. So I ripped back to the raglan increases so that I would only be knitting the smallest size instead, so I would get a better fitting, for my preferences, a more closer fitting garment that I thought I would like a lot more. And that was fitting so much better as I was knitting it. I kept trying it on and I was super happy with the fit of it. Last time I recorded, I had both of the sleeves were already finished, and I was just finishing up the length of the body. And then I needed to I don't really remember. I didn't leave my marker in there, but I'm not sure how many more inches. I don't think I needed much more length on the body actually. And then I went ahead and added in the ribbing. All of the ribbing is 1x1 ribbing. I did tubular bind offs for all of the bind offs, the sewn tubular bind off. And then I had to pick up the button bands and the neck band. And after I got it all done, I tried it on and I absolutely loved the way that it fit. The sleeves were just a tad long. I thought after I block it, I'll see, maybe I'll end up ripping back the sleeves to see if they turn out to be too big. The yarn that I used is a gifted yarn from another viewer of this podcast, and it is by Ulltex. It's called Kerry Tweed, and it is 15% kid mohair, 15% mohair, 40% acrylic, and 30% wool, and it's in the color number 7. So it's just this really nice light gray color with all these tweedy bits in it. Most of them are black and cream, but then once in a while you'll get even like a crazy speck of blue. There was a couple of pink specks, but they're quite hidden because they were really random. Here's one blue that you can see right there. So that was kind of fun just to come across a fun speck. There was a few darker brown colors once in a while. Anyway, so I really had, I really liked knitting with this yarn. It was a bit coarser to the touch than a lot of yarns that I've worked with before, but I was pretty sure that after blocking it, it would soften up, and it really did. So I went ahead and blocked it. I soaked it in a bath with some wool wash for quite a while, over about a half an hour or so, and then laid it flat to dry. And it was taking forever to dry. It was going on 48 hours, and it was still a little bit damp to the touch, but it was almost dry. So I went ahead and tried it on, and I realized that it had grown in blocking, which I was really surprised by. Now, the label was not specific about whether this was superwash or not. I assumed that it was not superwash. There's no washing instructions on the label. I did not do heavy digging. I could still do that to find out what is this superwash or not. But my guess is that it is, because it grew considerably in the blocking. And so anyway, I could tell already, especially in the sleeves, that the sleeves were way too long after blocking. And like I said, it was still a little bit damp. So I decided to just throw it in the dryer just to see if I could get it to shrink up a little bit. So I just threw it in the dryer for like 10 minutes or so, and that dried it up, but it did not change the fit of it at all. So then I thought, well, I'll try drying it a little bit more and see if I can get it to shrink, because it was still the exact same size as it was at the beginning. So I was doing a load of laundry, and I had a new load of laundry to put into the dryer that was fully wet, and I threw this in with the wet load. So this was dry already, but I threw it in with a wet load into my dryer and checked on it every 10 minutes or so, and it didn't seem to be changing much. I ended up running it the entire cycle, which would have been maybe 45 minutes or so, and it still didn't change it at all. So I was like, okay, maybe I need to try to felt it in the, or not really, I didn't really want to felt it, but I just wanted to shrink it up. So I thought I'll put it into the laundry machine, or the washing machine first for my next step. I'll put it in the washing machine. So I put it in on a regular cycle warm water. I was a little bit nervous about that because I thought maybe that will be too much, but I just did it because I didn't really know what else to do. Also, I should mention that not only was it too long in the sleeves, but even the yoke had extended. It wasn't fitting as close to my underarms like I would have liked it. And the length of it was also a lot bigger. It was just had grown all over, and it all needed to be shrunk up. It wasn't just the sleeves. I threw it into the washing machine at that warm cycle, and then also dried it completely. No change. So then I put it in the wash in a hot cycle and dried it completely. Still no change. The yarn changed, like I said. The yarn softened up a lot. It just melded together. It has a great, nice little fuzzy halo on it. that I love, but the fit of the garment changed. It did not change at all. So I don't know what else to do, and I do not want to rip it all out. At first I thought I'll just rip out the sleeves and shorten those, but I'll try it on for you so you can see how it fits. I'm just really not happy with how it's fitting. So I'll show you that first. I have sewn in all of the, or weaved in all of the ends, but I have not put on the buttons yet. But anyway, here you can kind of see, I'm just trying to situate it so it's nice and relaxed or fitting normally. Here you can see how long the sleeves are. It looks like one's longer than the other. It might just be the way I have it situated here. The sleeves are way too long, so I was thinking at first I would just shorten them about 4 inches or so. I do like long sleeves, but these are just too long. I wouldn't mind if they were like here, but when they go almost to my fingertips, that's just way too long for me. But that wouldn't have been a big problem, or that would have been an easy fix if the rest was fitting better. But as you can see, the yoke has all this extra room, and I just really don't like that fit on me. And the way that this hangs is just like really drapey, and it's just too big for my preferences. I just feel really frumpy in it, and I don't know, I just don't feel comfortable in this, and I'm really unhappy with the fit. So, I don't know, can you just appreciate how I'm feeling about this in this way? If I had it buttoned, it would look a little bit more put together, but still kind of like, I don't know, I just don't think it's great. So that was a huge disappointment, and I didn't know what to do. I figured I would just frog it, and I don't know what I would do with the yarn. I'm not really sure. I don't know. I was just feeling a bit disappointed by the whole thing. Then even the neckline is just way too open for my taste. But then my dear friend Tina came over on Wednesday, and I was showing her this cardigan and kind of asking her her thoughts on what I should do with this. And she tried it on, and we're pretty much the same size and body shape. But it looked so much better on her. I should have taken a picture with it on her so you guys could have seen the difference, because it doesn't look frumpy on her at all. She was wearing kind of an oversized, loose fitting tunic type shirt or dress. And with this over that, it just looked so cute, I thought. I thought it looked so nice on her. She also loves the color gray. And I mentioned before that gray, I usually don't gravitate towards gray. It's not really my favorite. But I really didn't think that Tina would like this cardigan because she is a bit sensitive to really itchy wools sometimes. And this is a bit itchy to the touch, which is another reason why I thought for sure it was non-superwash. But it can't be if it didn't do anything in that hot wash, right? I don't know. That seems so strange to me. Maybe it's because it has 40% acrylic mixed in, so it just helps it not to felt. I don't really know. Anyway, Tina tried this on. It looked great on her, and she said it didn't bother her, the itch. I mean, she had a long sleeve. Her tunic was long sleeved, so it wasn't right up against her skin. But that was really how I was intending to wear it too, was more of like a layering piece. I wouldn't be wearing it next to skin very often. She doesn't seem to mind it. So what we are going to do is I'm going to gift this to Tina. She's going to actually sew some buttons on because I don't have anything in my stash that would work really well. And she thinks she might have something in her stash, or maybe she'll buy some buttons and sew them on. And I said, just try it out. If you end up loving it, awesome. But if you end up not wearing it, we can always rip it out at another date. She even said that she would help me rip it out. As if you've watched before, you know that she's an awesome friend to help me with ripping out things and untangling things, which I'll mention a little bit more about that in a little bit. But anyway, she's going to just try this, and hopefully she will wear it and like it and get use out of it, and that will make me so happy to have this go to her. We've actually talked about me making a sweater for her, but we hadn't decided on a yarn and a pattern yet. And anyway, she said, well, then I would get my sweater from you if I got this, but I could still make you another sweater, Tina, to be more to your preferences. But anyway, we're going to try that, and hopefully she'll get some use out of it, because I know I would not, because I just don't feel great in it. So anyway, it turned out good in the end. Hopefully Tina will like it and wear it a lot, and it will go to a good home in that way, but kind of a long story in getting to that point. Anyway, so I guess that is it for my finished objects, and I'll go on to my works in progress next. The first one I want to give you an update on is one of my scrappy blankets. I am working on a scrappy blanket using up lots of my tiny little scraps of worsted weight acrylic yarn. I am making this, it's called Granny's Daughter. It's this pattern right here. And it's from this old Leisure Arts pamphlet, leaflet number 2159. The design is by Nancy Fuller. And it calls for me to start off by making a total of 836 one-round granny squares, which look like this. So it's just a very simple granny square, and it only takes an arm's length of worsted weight yarn to make one of these little granny squares. I am using a G 4mm hook to crochet all of these. And it's kind of hard for me to give you an update on this because it's just tons and tons of these little squares, but I just want to share once in a while my progress on this. I am just holding all of my granny squares in this Ziploc bag, although it's full now, and so my next batch of granny squares will go into a new bag, but I have a total of 400 squares in this bag. So that's super exciting. I actually have quite a few more made, but I think it's 88 more granny squares made up. And so I'm well past the halfway point for this scrappy blanket, but here you can kind of get an idea of all the different colors I have going on so far. Last time I gave you an update on this project, I only had 200 made, and so now I have 488 total squares made up for this project, which is so exciting. Here are the 88 other ones in this basket, but I don't have any more worsted weight on hand to work up at this point, so I'm just kind of on hold until I get some more scraps to work through. But I'm so excited about how that blanket is coming along, and I cannot wait to get to the point where I have all of my little squares done and I can just start piecing it all together. I think that's going to be super exciting, and I think this design is so fun. So it's coming along closer and closer. My next work in progress, I wanted to cast on a new pair of just simple socks so that I could have a mindless travelable knitting project. It's being held in this super cute bag that you've seen on the last couple of episodes, I think, because I was holding my Cable Ridge socks in this bag as well. I received this in a swap several years ago. And these are a pair of socks for Tina. So if you have watched for the last couple episodes, you know that I knit a pair of socks for Tina's friend, Faith. And when she was picking out yarn for Faith's socks, she came across this skein of yarn and absolutely loved it. And I said, well, I can definitely make you a pair of socks in that yarn. So that's what I'm doing. This is another yarn that was gifted to me by a viewer of this podcast. You guys are always, so many of you have been so incredibly generous, and I have more to talk on that in a little bit too. Anyway, this yarn was gifted to me by Adriana. She actually also, when she gifted me this yarn, she also gifted me a yarn that I used in this shawl. It's kind of buried the way I have it situated here, but this beautiful yarn was actually dyed by Adriana. And anyway, she also gifted me this skein of yarn from Nomadic Yarns, and it's called My Girl. It's on the trusty sock, which is 75% superwash merino and 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon fingering weight. And here is how it's knitting up. It's so fun and bright and cheery, and I love knitting these. They are so much fun. I cast on 60 stitches using US 0 2mm needles. I always use Chowgu red lace needles for my projects. I did 5 stripes of 2x1 ribbing, and then I'm just doing plain stockinette. And I added in a contrast color that really is a pretty good match to the gray stripe. This is a yarn that I dyed myself. It's also on a 75-25 base. Just did a slip stitch heel flap. And I just, a few rounds ago, finished the gusset decreases. So now I'm just, again, back on easy, plain stockinette knitting for these. So these are such a great project to work on. I worked on them this morning while we did our schoolwork because I homeschool our children. And so I always like to have a project in hand, even though I barely ever get anything, but I barely ever work on what I bring with me for, during schoolwork, but it's still nice to have something on hand just in case I get a few rows in. And I can work on these in the car or at church. So I love having a project like that I can have on the go. My next work in progress, I am so incredibly excited about. I will start with showing you my swatch. Here is the yarn that Tina untangled for me. If you've watched for a while, you would have seen a few episodes ago that I had started crocheting a different cardigan pattern and it wasn't working out in this yarn and I could not get it to unravel. This is Knit Picks. Both of these are Knit Picks yarns. This one is in the palette line, a fingering weight 100% non-superwash Peruvian Highland wool, and this one is in the Aloft base, which is a 72% Super Kid Mohair, 28% silk blend. And this palette is in the Calypso Heather colorway, and this one is in the Kenai colorway. So I was holding these together for the crocheted pattern, and I could not get these to unravel. I tried freezing it, that didn't seem to help. But Tina is just such a good friend and actually does not mind doing this kind of work, although she did admit this was a labor of love. So thank you so much again, Tina, for unraveling this for me. It was quite a process. She ended up unraveling it into one big ball with the 2 strands together at first, and then separated that big ball into 2 pieces again. So that was a lot of work. Anyway, I am doing a test knit for Amy Lowden of Tailoress Studio, and this is my swatch, and it is done in Fisherman's Rib, and I was able to get gauge with my first try, so that was great. That never happens. I use the recommended needles, and that was so nice to be able to meet gauge on my very first try. And I just love, I've never knit Fisherman's Rib before, and it's really fun and relaxing, and I enjoy it so much. I think it's not a fast knit, but it's a relaxing knit for me. It's just really calming, and I just love the process of knitting this stitch. I think it's so enjoyable. I love it, and I love the way that it looks. I think it's so pretty. So I'm so happy with that, how that is looking, and I am just, this is like my favorite cardigan I've ever knit so far. I mean, I'm just in the yoke right now, but the way that it's fitting around my shoulders is just beautiful. I love it so much. I can't even express how much I love this cardigan. So I am making the 3rd size. She has several sizes. She has 10 sizes. Again, this is a test knit, so maybe some numbers or calculations may change. I'm not exactly sure, but probably not. Right now, the finished closed cardigan best circumference ranges from 30 inches to 65.5 inches. So there's a nice range. And again, I'm making the 3rd size. And it's so exciting. I just love it so much. It is written so well. You know, when you take on a test knit, sometimes you have to be prepared that it's going to have some glitches in it. And this is so beautifully written. It's incredible. Right now I'm working through the yoke, and for the yoke she has a raglan tick list where you can go every single row, you can check off that you've done that, and it just makes it really, really clear to know when you're supposed to do increases, because sometimes you're doing increases on only the sleeves, sometimes you're only doing increases on the front panels and the back. And then there's also some increases along the V-neck shaping because it is a V-neck cardigan. I can show you a picture of it on this pattern page, so you can see how beautiful it is. It's in black and white, sorry about that, but this just gives you a bit of an idea of how it looks. The Mayberry cardigan by Amy Lowden of Tailoress Studio. Isn't it beautiful? I think it's such a stunning design. And I only have about 20 rows for the raglan to complete, and then I'll be able to separate for the sleeves. Look how this is looking. Oh, also it has another thing that I've never done before. It has a double knit button band that is knit while you go, and it's done in double knitting, which again, I've never done before. But I love it. I love the fabric. It's just so thick and squishy, and it's got structure to it, and it lines up with the fisherman's rib beautifully. Look at these increases along the sleeves. Can you see how it increases? It's so pretty. I just am enamored with the detail in this design. I think it's exquisite, and I want one of these in every color at this point. Again, I'm not done yet, so obviously I may change my opinion, but I just really think that I'm going to love this so much. I need to try it on for you all so you can see how well it's fitting. It's incredible. I'm so excited about it. It just feels like such a comforting, just makes me take a deep breath and relax when I put it on. It is such a comforting fit and feel to have this on. I don't know, it's just amazing. Look at how nicely it lays around my shoulders. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Well, I am so happy with it so far. I really think I'm going to love this so much. Isn't it great? I'm so happy with it, and I love the color. I think it's so fun and rich, and I love it. So I'm so excited about this. It's going really, really well. It's super enjoyable to work on. Like I said, it's slow. It's not a fast knit, but it's going so well, and I'm just thoroughly enjoying the process. So that is great. The needles that I'm using for that, like I said, are the recommended needles, and they are US 6 4mm needles. And you don't have to change your needle size for the ribbing for that button band, not the ribbing, but the double knitting button band. You just use the same needles. So it's so nice. I just love it so incredibly much. I think I'll leave off my shawl because I'm feeling warm now. Anyway, my next work in progress is being held in this super sweet bag that I received as a gift from Danielle of Midwest Stitches. I just love this bag for sock knitting. It works out so well, as I always tend to knit my socks 2 at a time. And it just works so perfectly to have 2 skeins in this bag. So as you can maybe tell, these are my Knit Picks Felici socks for the month of May. This colorway is called Spring Blooms, and the pattern that I chose to go with these socks is called the Secret Garden Socks by Litton of Crazy Sock Lady Designs. and I haven't made a ton of progress on these yet, but I have worked through a repeat of the pattern, and I've also worked through a repeat of the color stripes, so you can see all the colors and you can see the pattern. I am making the medium size again, so again 64 stitches. The ribbing is a patterned ribbing of basically 1x1 twisted ribbing, but it's syncopated to coincide with the pattern in the leg of the sock. Again, I work through 3 stripes of the colors, which ends up usually being about 17 rounds, and then went right into the beautiful cabled pattern. Isn't that lovely? I love it so much. It's a 16 round repeat for the pattern, so it's not a mindless pattern, but it's beautiful and I love it. The back side is plain stockinette though, so you get a nice break on the back side. And I really love that combination of having a detailed pattern on the front of the sock and then having plain stockinette on the back. It's kind of a nice combination. So I am really enjoying working on these as well. So not much more to say on those at this point, but I will continue working on these throughout the month of May, and I'm really enjoying it. My last work in progress is going to flow into the next segment of this episode, which is I'm hoping not to make it take too long, but I have over the years received so many generous donations from viewers of this channel for donations and just yarn that I can use to make gifts and things like that. But I don't think I'm pretty sure this is the largest donation that I've ever received at one time. I received 3 huge boxes from a viewer of this channel named Kim. And she was just destashing and had already destashed quite some of her yarn anyway, and still had more to give, and asked if I would be willing to accept it. And I said, well, that would be wonderful. So I said, of course, I would be very honored to accept this yarn. You know, I like to give gifts to you all that are participating in the Make 9 Mal. And so, yeah, I love to make gifts to give to people. And so that's, you know, kind of what I am intending for this yarn to go towards. I will show that at the end of the episode. So if you're interested in seeing the yarn that was sent to me, stay tuned for that. But I've actually already started working on a project with some of the yarn that she sent my way. My son, who is 9 years old, and several episodes ago, you saw a little tutorial that he did, and showing off how he was learning how to chain stitches and just learning how to crochet, has continued to really enjoy practicing crochet. So he was very excited to start a new crochet blanket using up some of this yarn that was sent my way. And the yarn that we are using, well, I'm doing most of the work, but my son did help me start the chain, and I've taught him how to do the double crochet stitch. But anyway, I think of it as a team effort. Anyway, the yarn that we're using is this Red Heart Hygge yarn, which is a bulky weight yarn. And the makeup of it is 70% acrylic, 30% nylon. And it is incredibly soft. It has the base yarn, looks like applied yarn. And then it also has this type of kind of eyelashy looking yarn around the outside of the yarn. And it is such a wonderfully soft and comforting feeling yarn. This colorway, I'm using 5 colorways. This one is called Plum Candy. And she sent me one huge box full of this kind of yarn in several different colors. And each of the colors, all but 2 of the colors, have at least a couple of skeins. Some of them have up to 4 skeins in one color. So Plum Candy. We're also using Pearl. This one is called Rust, Cloud, and Latte. So those are the 5 colors that we're using. I have the most of these 2 colors, and so the pattern that I'm using is called Stargazer Throw by Alexandra Tavel of 2 of Wands. It's a free pattern on her blog, and the original pattern calls for you to only use 1 color as your main color or your background base color, but I'm actually using these both and striping them, and then the other 3 colors are used as a contrast. So I have worked up a few rows and I'm really enjoying working on this. It's so soft and drapey and comforting. I love it. So it's a very, very simple pattern. It's just made using double crochet stitches, US terms, and single crochet stitches along with some chains. Like I said, it's a free pattern on her blog, so you can definitely check it out. And you don't have to weave any ends because you actually make fringe along the edge of the blanket with the tails. So I haven't, at the end, I think there's probably instructions on how to make those look more pretty because they're kind of grouped together on the picture on the blog. You can see that they're more beautifully arranged in the end, but you get the idea of how it will work up. But it is just really simple and fun to work on. You change color every row. So the other 3 contrast colors are just these single crochet and chain stitches. I am using a large hook, which is a 9mm hook. I've really come to enjoy these types of crochet hooks that have an aluminum top and then this nice ergonomic handle. I usually use clover hooks, but for some reason when you get into the larger sizes, I'm not sure at what millimeter size it goes up to, but when you get into the bigger sizes in the clover hooks, they switch to a plastic tip instead of an aluminum tip, which I do not prefer the plastic tips. So I went just onto Amazon and searched for a hook that I thought I would like a little bit better. And I came across this great deal that of a whole set of crochet hooks in this nice case. It's like a, I don't know, canvasy maybe? I'm not really, nylon-y, I don't know. A nice case. It's really well made, it seems like. Here is the brand Yarnis. It was only $24, and now I can't even remember how many hooks I got. All of these. 20, I think. I think there's 20 hooks. There's 4. One's missing from right here. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There should be 20. Did I miscount? 5, 10. Oh, maybe there's only 19. That seems odd. Oh no, my son took another one out. There's 20 hooks total. And they range in size from 0.5 millimeter all the way up to 10 millimeter. Then it also came with this nice pair of snips. And it also came with a package of closing stitch markers and some tapestry needles. So such a nice, really well-made case and such a great deal. I was just going to buy one hook and it was going to be maybe $7 or something like that. But then I could get this whole case for $24 with 20 hooks. I just couldn't pass it up. And I'm really happy with these hooks. They're really comfortable to use. And I just love that they are the aluminum tips, even though they're the bigger sizes. So that's the recommended hook for the pattern, and that's what I'm using, and I'm enjoying it so much. So that is all for that one, and now I am going to go into all of this amazing yarn that was sent my way. If you are not interested in seeing all that yarn, I really appreciate you joining me today for this episode. I hope that you really enjoyed seeing the projects that I'm working on, and I will hopefully see you in a couple of weeks. But if you would like to see all of the beautiful yarn that was sent my way, then stay tuned. I have several other colorways of the Red Heart Hygge yarn that I am using, same as what I showed you before in that last project, but a few other colorways. This one is called, this one doesn't have a colorway name on it for some reason. I don't know why, maybe it just got taken off of the label, but it's kind of a country blue, I would call it. Then this one is called Aloe. And like I said, for most of these, I have several skeins. Teal, Ivy, Lavender, and Forest. Then the next one that she sent is very similar to that yarn, but it's a Karen Latte Cakes yarn. It just has a similar feel. It's also a bulky weight. It is kind of got a self-striping type look to it, and this colorway is called Kissy Kissy. The makeup of this one is 58% acrylic and 42% nylon, so a little bit different distribution of the acrylic and nylon, but still kind of the same idea. Beautiful. I have 4 skeins of this Big Twist Value yarn, which is worsted weight 100% acrylic, and it is, this one's called Chocolate Brown. Then we have Varsity Green and Khaki. So those 3 kind of go together. I mean, they're all the same exact base. And then there's also one that has some beautiful glittery strand through it. So that one has a different makeup, probably with 97% acrylic, 3% polyester, and the colorway is called Teal. But again, worsted weight, very pretty. Okay, then she sent me 3 cakes of this Lion Brand Mandala. This is a DK weight yarn, 100% acrylic, and the colorway is called Warlock. So there's 3 of these. I'm thinking I will maybe make a prayer shawl using these. That's my initial thought anyway. And then she also sent me another colorway of the same yarn, 3 again, and this one is called Brownie. Then we have several skeins of this Bernat satin yarn, which is another acrylic, I think. Yep, 100% acrylic worsted weight. And this one is called Crimson. There's 3 skeins of that. So bright. Then there are 5 skeins of white. It's called Snow. And 1 skein of this navy blue, which is called Admiral. So kind of a red, white, and blue thing with these colors, or with this yarn base. Okay, then I have several different skeins of cotton yarn. The first is this huge cone. I don't think it's marked at all. Nope, but just a light yellow worsted weight, I'm sure 100% a cotton yarn, so that'll be great for dishcloths. And then we got a couple more great dishcloth yarns. Sugar and Cream in the Earth Ombre colorway. Again, these are worsted weight, 100% cotton. Crafter's Secret Cotton in the Classic Print, number 116. It's a super gray, cloudy day today, so I'm sorry if the colors aren't great showing off. They're not showing off as well as they could possibly, but you get the general idea. Another Sugar and Cream in the red, white, and blue color. And another Sugar and Cream in the American Stripes. And one more Sugar and Cream in, oh, there we go, Holiday Stripes. Then we have a Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel Cotton, which is DK weight, 100% cotton, and this beautiful gradient of gray colors. This colorway is called Granny's Recipe. Then she sent these 3 big skeins of Sprightly Yarns. Again, 100% cotton, worsted weight. And this one is called Magenta, Ecru, and Dusty Pink. So those are pretty. And lastly in this box, but I have another box to go. So this is, the first box was all of that Hygge yarn, and then this is the second box. So this is the last bit from the second box, and then the third box is even more glorious. This is, let's see, 5 skeins of Cloud-Born Fibers Pima Cotton DK in the lavender colorway. So it is 100% Pima cotton. And each of these skeins is 100 grams. So really a beautiful yarn. Okay, I'm going to repack this and I'll be back with you in a second. Okay, on to the next box. It is jam-packed with super great yarn. The first is a set of Patins Croy socks yarn. I've actually knit myself a pair of socks in this exact colorway. It's called Brown Rose Marl. And this is classified as a fingering weight yarn, but it knits up more like a sport weight. It's a bit of a plumper yarn. For 50 grams, you get 166 yards. It's 75% washable wool, 25% nylon. But so pretty. I have 4 different skeins of, I think these are the same. Yeah, these are all Premier Yarns. Deborah Norville collection, Serenity sock weight. The first one is this colorway called Teal. Oh my, I need reading glasses. I can't read that. Teal Tees. Yes, I'm getting old. Teal Tees. 75%, I'm sure, no. No. 50% superwash merino wool, 25% rayon made from bamboo, and 25% nylon. And another one, this is in the, is this the same thing? Yeah, same base. And this is just a plain gray color called Charcoal. And then 2 in the soft white. Okay, I'll try to go through these quickly, but they are just all so glorious that they deserve a little time on screen here. Okay, I've got a few skeins from Menstel Uruguay in the Alegria Superwash Merino and Polyamide, 75% wool, 25% polyamide. Here's the first beautiful color called, I didn't know, oh, it's really raining, I think. I don't know. Let's see if I can figure this out. Ooh, these colorway names are hard. Jacaranda, perhaps. Same base on this one in the Orguidia colorway. So pretty. And 2 skeins in, again, the same base. This one is called Cabaret. That's stunning. All right, some more Cloud-Born fibers. Here is a superwash merino fingering in the antique white colorway, and it is a single, no, it's a 2-ply, I think, no, I could be wrong. It's a single ply yarn, and it is just 100% merino, superwash merino wool, fingering weight. So 2 of those. Ah, so bright. I don't quite understand why when it's cloudy, it seems like things, I don't know, are blown out more. Okay, I've got 2 50-gram skeins by Cloudborne Fibers, and this is in the Highland Superwash Sock Twist, and this one is specifically a hand paints collection. This one's a solid, or tonal anyway. This one is called You Better Belize. What's this one? Yeah. You Better Belize in this one. So this base is 80% superwash fine Highland wool and 20% polyamide. And this one is in the petal colorway. This is a 100-gram skein, but on the same base. This one's called Spring Flowers. I'm sorry, it's not the exact same base. This is on an 80% superwash merino wool and 20% polyamide base. Okay, now I have, let's see, I'll do these next. 2 yarns from Knitology, and this says Brooklyn Boy Knits Knitology by Knit Crate. They're worsted weight, 100% superwash merino wool, and this colorway is called Bushwick, and this one is called Concrete Jungle. So those are kind of a pair. Very pretty. Look at the colors in this one. It's very nice. Okay, then I have several yarns by Wonderland Yarns. The base for this one is sock fingering weight, 80% superwash fine merino and 10% cashmere, 10% nylon in the Queen of Hearts. No, I'm sorry. The colorway is called Mulberry Bush. This one is on an 85% fine merino wool, 15% nylon base. And the colorway is called Colorful Words. This one is on the 80-10-10 superwash fine merino cashmere nylon base again, and it is a year in color. Birthstones Citrine, it says. And we have a 3-pack of yarn from Wonderland Yarns. It says it is the Switch Way Wrap Yarn Bundle with Unicorn. There's a picture of the wrap, I guess. And we have 2 skeins of the Mad Hatter Sport Weight, which is 100% superwash merino. That's these 2. And then this one is a Unicorn Sparkle Magic with 63% silk, 23% kid mohair, and 11% nylon, and 3% lurex. So that is intended to make that shawl. See, the colorway is called just called Switch Way Wrap Kit, number 5. Maybe there were a few different kits for that pattern. Then we have this awesome bundle, which is called Mad Hatter 86 yards per 1 ounce skein, a total of 430 yards, 100% superwash merino sport weight yarn in the Golden Afternoon colorway. So you get 5 different colors there. Is that it? No, there's more. There's more Wonderland Yarns. Here we have another 85% merino wool, 15% nylon base in the A Year in Color January colorway. I think that's all the Wonderland yarns. Okay, now going on to some yarn by Malabrigo. This is, there's 3 of these. That's such a pretty color. It is called Rosalinda, and it is on the worsted, let's see, I think it has a different name than just worsted. It is 100% pure merino wool, I think. Pretty sure. I guess that's all it says, is worsted and pure merino wool. But beautiful. 3 of those. It's a single ply. We have 2 of this colorway, which is, I think, the same base. Although this one says worsted. Worsted, 100% superwash merino wool. So maybe that one was not superwash and this one is. This colorway is called Arco Iris. And there's 2 of these. But it's also a single ply. We have 2 of this colorway. This is also on, okay, this is the Rios base, which is pure merino superwash in the Primavera colorway. I'm running out of room to stack these. Okay, we've got 2 skeins of the Anniversario colorway, which I have knitted myself before, again on the Rios base. It's such a beautiful colorway. I love this one so much. And one more Malabrigo yarn. This one is on a lighter base, 100% merino superwash. This would be a fingering weight. And this colorway is called Viola. Okay, we've got 2 skeins of the Clay Pearl Hour yarn from Brown County, Indiana, it says. And this is called Garden Surprise. It's on a 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon base. Not nearly sock yarn, it says. So it would be a fingering weight. I think, yes, fingering weight. I'm very impressed with the dyer of these skeins. It is called AG2N Dyed Yarns. Oh, this one is so amazing. This one is called Celeste Sweater. It's on an MCN base, so 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, fingering weight. It's pouring outside. And 2 skeins of this amazing colorway, same dyer, same base. Colorway is called Mixed Spices. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe, I'm not sure why that, maybe somebody else wrote Celeste Sweater on this. Maybe Kim wrote it for something maybe she was planning. I'm sorry, the colorway of this one is called It's Getting Hot in Here. And again, this one is Mixed Spices. That is so amazing. Oops, little piece of paper on there. Okay. Oh, one more Wonderland yarn. I tried to group them all together, but it got lost. Another Wonderland yarn in the 80% superwash fine merino wool, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon base. This colorway is called First Edition. All right, we've got 3 skeins from Lorna's Laces. The first one is on a 55% superwash merino wool, 15% nylon, 30% Outlast viscose base, and the color is called Christmas at Downton. Very pretty. And then there's two in this colorway called Niagara. Same base as the other one. All right, we have some single skeins. This is from Vitellana by Knit Crate. And it is on the Vitellana Lofty DK base, which is 48% merino wool, 20% baby alpaca, 32% organic cotton in the colorway Firewood. It's kind of a chainette construction. Here is a fun yarn from Bamboo Bloom Handprints by Universal Yarn. 40% rayon made from bamboo, 44% wool, 8% acrylic in the Kabuki colorway. Really thick and thin texture to that one. We have a Cascade Yarns Heritage, 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon skein in the color number 5683. This is 100 grams. Did I say the makeup of it? Yeah, I did. So just a nice beigey color. Okay, we've got 5, I believe, or 4. 4 skeins of another Cloudborne yarn. This is 100% superwash merino wool, so similar to the one I showed at the beginning of this box that was a bare natural colored yarn. This one is called Caribbean. That's a gorgeous color. Similar to my cardigan. All right, we have this giant skein. This is 450 grams of, I don't know if it tells me the weight. It's 95% wool, 5% silk, Mushishi by Plymouth Yarn in the color number 27, I think. So it's 250 grams, approximately 491 yards. Be worsted weight, I think. I think so, worsted weight. Super fun. We're getting near the end. 2 of these beautiful cakes of yarn by Juniper Moon Farm. The base is 50% merino wool, 50% silk. This is a lace weight, I believe. The color is called Bayo, B-A-Y-E-U-X. I'm not sure how that'd be pronounced. You can't see that. Anyway, it's this beautiful colorway, and there's 2 cakes of that yarn. Also 2 cakes of this yarn by Lana Grossa Magico 2 Mylan White in the color number 3504. It is a single ply, 75% virgin wool, 25% polyamide. 2 of those. There are 2 sock blanks. One by Little Bay Blue, I think. And look at the colors in this. It's so beautiful. This is a fingering weight, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. It's a single sock blank, so single stranded. Is there a colorway? Yes. No. It says colorway, but then there's nothing listed there, but very, very beautiful. And the second one is undyed. This is homemade by Homesteader, maybe? Yeah. 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Again, this is a single-stranded one, I believe, but just a plain one. And then we have 3 skeins that do not have tags on them. I asked Kim if she knew what these were, but she's not sure. She got them from like a discount bin at her local yarn store. I think that's what she said. And the owner, I think, now I can't remember what you said, Kim, I'm sorry. I think she said that the owner thought these were both sock yarns, but she wasn't 100% sure. This one seems really thin. I would think that this one is a lace weight. It's really, really thin. But 2 skeins of this brown color, and I would guess that it's a wool or wool blend. And then the last one is this beauty. I would guess that this is a sock yarn. It looks like maybe a 2-ply. Kim said that she knit a hat out of this, another skein of this yarn, and it worked up beautifully for that. It's such a pretty color. So isn't that incredible? I am so overwhelmed with your generosity, Kim. My friend Tina came over, like I said, on Wednesday and looked through this yarn with me, and she was also just floored by the generosity of you towards this channel and me in general. And I am so incredibly grateful. I can't express my gratitude towards you being so generous to donate this yarn. I will definitely be giving the majority of this yarn to you all that are participating in the Make 9 Mal and knitting up some things and crocheting some things for gifts. So stay tuned. You'll definitely be seeing all of this yarn eventually in the months and maybe even years to come. So thank you again, Kim. I just can't tell you how appreciative I am of your generosity. So that is everything that I have to share with you all today. I know it was a lot with all of that extra yarn to share with you all, but I hope you enjoyed seeing all of that beauty, and I hope you all are doing really well, and I hope you take care for the next few weeks until I record again. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.